Let's call the meeting to order. If you please join me by standing and reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Okay, Mr. Smith, are you present?
I'm present.
Ms. Quinn?
Present.
Mr. Snyder?
Present.
Ms. Saunders?
Present.
Ms. Simpson?
Present.
Mr. Osborne?
Here. Present.
We have quorum. First thing on the agenda will be to review and hopefully the approval of the minutes from the May 8th, 2025 Board of Aldermen meeting, located tab 4.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from May 8th, 2025.
I'm sorry. I'll second.
We have a motion on the floor to approve the minutes of the board meeting of May 8th, 2025. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Next thing on the agenda is the mayor's report. Start out, water treatment. We're currently working on obtaining a grant for emerging contaminants. We received approval this week from the Missouri Department of Natural Resources to send out the request for qualifications that we presented to them for their approval. That has been solicited to 10 individual engineering companies, 5 which meet the DBE requirements, which gets a little complicated. I won't go too far down that road. We also recently received the construction permit from the Missouri Department of Natural Resources to begin construction on the water plant, upgrades to switch to chlorination plus chlorine dioxide as a treatment method that was consistent with what the Clarence County Coastal Water Commission does currently. We plan to start this in August. We would expect that there will be a carryover possibly into the next fiscal year for FY 2026. I'm pleased to announce that on Monday, Justin Turner will be beginning work as our electric department supervisor. He has 24 years of experience with Lewis County REC, 27 years total. We also, the following week, on the 23rd, we expect that Adam Kunkel will start as a journeyman lineman. He has about 14 years of experience, currently a foreman at Selenic Energy. So we're very pleased to be able to get these two people on board. We'll bring another level, I hope, of knowledge and experience to bear for the city of Monroe City and the customers that we serve. I had an interesting conversation this week with Shelby Lovelace, who's the fisheries biologist with the Missouri Department of Conservation. I don't have data with me, but after a lengthy discussion, we had a conversation wherein he suggested that we consider stocking the South Lake, and initially start out with 400 channel cat. So once I get information on cost, I'll be presenting that to the Parks and Recreation Board for review and a recommendation to the board. I worked with George this week and Precision Pumping. That's the company that brings in the effluent, or sometimes called pig fat, for treatment at the wastewater treatment facility. And George, I didn't bring it all with me, it's pretty lengthy, but George did a pretty good job putting together cost analysis. And at the end of the day, we decided to go back to them, and we asked them to increase that, what we charged them, from 10 cents to 11 4 mils, or 0.114. So that will cover that addition to the fee will cover the cost of the chemicals, the bacteria that we're required to buy, that we initially had not anticipated that. that cost being that high. So that will cover that cost and hopefully put us back where we need to be. So I don't know how we're going to handle it. We're going to have to put together a contract and then present it to the board to approve the new contract. That'll be at the next meeting. Okay. That concludes my report. Moving right along, next on the agenda, city clerk report.
I know we had discussed with BSNA, the new software company that we're going with. We had discussed previously about if we wanted to bring payroll back in-house, if we didn't want to bring payroll back in-house. Well, I just wanted to let you know, from the last meeting, we are going to be integrating with BSNA in 2 different steps. By the end of the year, we will integrate everything but utility billing. Next year, second quarter, utility billing will be coming live. If we wanted to go ahead and put payroll and HR back into the software system, we do have money left in capital expenditures. We did allow $81,000 for this year, and we've only spent about $55,000. I did speak with the SNA, and the only cost we would have for this fiscal year would be $7,200 if we did want to bring payroll and HR back into the package. And I just wanted to run that by you all. We don't have to do it right now by any means. I just wanted to bring that back to your attention.
What would you recommend, Jeanette?
When we get a full staff, it would be ideal to have it in-house, of course.
Okay,
But-
in-house with the software.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
When it's less than half the cost of what we're paying now.
Yeah, what we pay now is about 15 annually. It would take a little time to show a savings, but in the long run, we would show a savings because it would only run about $7,200 a year by adding the payroll module after we do our initial purchase. So it would be about half price, but we don't have to do anything tonight if you don't want to. I just want to bring that to your attention.
I have one question. Do you anticipate any increase in labor? We'll be able to manage this with our current staff?
Increase in what?
In labor to do payroll, bring payroll back in-house, will it change?
If we stay with 4, I think it would be fine.
Do you want to get us on the agenda for the next meeting, or do you all want to try to address it tonight?
I most likely will follow Jeanette's cue on this because I don't know. I wouldn't suggest you bring it back in if you don't have the staffing for it.
And see, that is kind of a concern, but I know we do have staff that would really like to see it back in-house. I'd like to see it back in-house, just so I know I'm not just going to
Yeah,
being back in-house.
that makes sense.
Like I did discover they were charging us the food tax there for a while, and I'm not saying I could make the same mistake or could, but just food for thought. We can talk about the next meeting if you want to. It's not a big deal.
Okay, let's get, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is that 7,600 HR and payroll?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, let's get that on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay. And that's all I had. April, she's completed all of her online training. We've reached out to License Office Bureau for them to come in and do actual on-site training with her.
Good.
So,
Good.
she'll be ready to go over there. That's all I have.
Okay, very well. Moving right along, next thing we have is the city attorney's report.
Nothing to report substantial, we've been dealing with a former employee. It's taking up a lot of time. Other than that, I think that's all.
Do you, do you have any direction for any of the board members relative to if they are contacted directly via phone or indirectly via text or email, how they should or should not respond?
Yeah, I'd say direct and myself or the mayor will handle it. Because I know some of you have been reached out to. It's kind of an awkward situation for everybody.
It most certainly is. Okay, thank you. Nothing else, sir?
Nothing else.
All right. All right. Next thing we have is new business. First thing would be the Palmyra Mutual Aid Agreement. I'm guessing that is under tab 9.
9.
It's very straightforward. They've been here 4 times, I think, so far. Most recently out at Ren Potterfield Trucking to help with a intermittent issue that I believe that they help resolve. They were here twice because of storm-related issues. This is a formality that we need to complete.
Do we not have a mutual aid with them now?
This mutual aid agreement is separate from the MPUA agreement. It affords us certain economies where their charge rate is actually substantially less than if they were I'm not sure what the word for it, but they were sent here vis-a-vis MPUA, we pay the MPUA rate. This allows us to work with them directly. And they have been, I had the opportunity to be present twice when they were here. They're very fast, very efficient, very professional, very impressive. I was very impressed. They were Johnny on the spot both times. They actually have one journeyman. Excuse me. They have one lineman. I'm not sure if he's a journeyman. They have one lineman that actually lives in Monroe City. But after next week, I think that we will only need their help in case of a much more serious situation, because our apprentices are not allowed. The city does not allow our apprentices to do hot work. It's a safety consideration. So anyway, what we have before us is the mutual aid agreement. Please review it and take whatever action
I
you should take.
read through it and I don't see anything that's concerning other than it says we're supposed to adopt this by resolution. Did you not?
Just not seeing any pricing.
It mentions pricing on section.
It states where they're currently.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
item
I was
number,
looking for a dollar amount.
item number 3. I think that would vary depending on who came over. And,
Well, it may change,
Mhm.
they have to be updated. every
Sure.
day after, so that's crazy. I assume that John's read this and, that was probably wrote
Yes,
this.
James Lemon and I talked about it a few weeks ago. He wrote it, but each week our other mutual aid agreement that we have with Palmyra. So he sent it to me and I sent it off.
I did a comparison, just a mental comparison, not line for line on the spreadsheet of their rates versus the mutual aid agreement we've already signed with MQA, and I can give you my word that it's much cheaper, much cheaper. So, and they've already been here like 4 times. So I'm not sure what we do.
I don't have a problem with it at all, other than I just don't know if we have to have a resolution for it to approve it.
And we have to have an agreement from the board to enter into this. Yes, the board has to vote to allow us to.
Well, it says
Sign it.
shall by resolution. Down.
Mm-hmm.
Is
So is
that,
that just a pass,
is that just a,
that's just
a
a
yea or
pass?
nay?
It's a vote.
okay, I didn't know if we
I'm
had to have
sorry.
a resolution.
Like an ordinance, we're talking?
Yeah.
No. okay.
No, not ordinance.
Uh,
There's a difference.
I'll make a motion then that we approve the mutual aid agreement.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor to approve the mutual aid agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the mutual aid agreement with Palmyra. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The ayes have it, the motion carries. All right. Okay, library.
Regarding a contract.
Is this a discussion?
Yeah.
Okay. I should say the board has previously approved that the library, which is now separate from the city relative to finances, but the city of Monroe City vis-a-vis the board has prior to today approved that they pay no rent. They do not participate in paying us some reimbursement for insurance for the building. They will be required to get their own insurance for content. They do not pay a phone bill, and they do not pay a Wi-Fi bill. All that is already here, and I'm not trying to minimize it, but it's already here. So we need to formalize that, and establish for either I would assume a period of time where we make it easier. This may come as a surprise the way I say this, but make it easier for future boards to change their mind by not encumbering future boards with contracts that are forever type contracts in this type of situation. The next board might say, well, they ought to pay for this or they ought to pay for that. So you could do a 1 year agreement or a 2 year agreement or however you chose to do it. The purpose of talking about this tonight is just to throw it out here and get some ideas from you as individuals how you want to approach this. They need something in writing for their board.
We
What it comes down
we
to.
probably need something in writing as well for an audit. Yeah.
So
Like a lease for $1 or something like that, maybe, where you gotta.
can you draw? I'm sorry. Would the board approve having him draw something up for us to review at the next meeting?
Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion.
All right.
And as far as time frame, I don't know, would you be like a 2 years so that it's like every board, or do we do it a little longer so you don't have to mess with it every?
Why not? I mean, you can do longer. And I made a mistake. We're not encumbering future board with debt. We're not necessarily. We're just
Just put an automatic renewal clause in it,
Okay.
and then if some future boards that say, we don't want to do this, they just give a library notice.
Yeah,
I like that.
Do within so many, and then you have a chance. Yeah, that makes sense.
Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
All right. Precision pumping contract. I kind of briefly talked about it already. We will put together a contract for the board to review at the next meeting with the new fee on it. So takes care of that. All right. Moving on. Next thing on the agenda would be committee reports. Planning and zoning. I'm not aware of any activity with planning and zoning. Parks and Recreation. Is anyone here from Parks and Recreation? Nope.
We have a meeting next week, the 11th, to discuss budget for next year.
Good.
So the park committee has that, and then
Good.
we'll have our normal park meeting on Thursday.
All right. And economic development? No. Okay. Administration committee.
So we met on May 19th, and we were tasked with two things. One was to come back to the full board and make some recommendations regarding the sale of properties owned by the city. We concluded, we have a list in front of you highlighted in yellow. I'm sorry it's so janky because I did it last minute. The items highlighted in yellow, we chose to recommend to the full board to sell those properties via a bid, and to reach out to local property owners, advertise, direct solicit them. We felt like the value of the properties really probably don't warrant a brokerage firm or paying, realtor fees for the sale because they're probably not high value properties. There were some on the bottom that were vacant cemetery lots. We felt like it might be good to contact the request bids from funeral directors here in town. Perhaps they would buy them. The two parking lots, one was west of the fire station and one was Oslauger Park. We would like to recommend to the board to keep those. And then we did have a question at the corner of Summer and Davis. I think, is it by the old electric plant where they tore down? Is that it? We didn't know if the city had any future interest in using that lot.
The Eastover and South Davis.
Yeah, yeah. So we didn't know if the city had any interest. As far as the Mosswood lots and the industrial park lots, we felt like we wanted to hold on to them until we had a better vision of economic development in the community. The other thing we were asked to discuss and recommend was the on-call response time. We would like to recommend to the full board that the response time should be as soon as possible, but no later than an hour. And Jeanette had given us something to look at that had kind of was in our current manual. There was something also that kind of caught our eye that we did not have time to talk about, but we'd like to go back and review the on-call wages too. It seemed really, really bizarre when we looked at them, remember? So anyway, we did set up some set meeting dates, knowing that we'll probably meet more frequently, but Jeanette's got a list of those dates we're going to meet, so just so we can have things on the calendar for the committee members. Anybody have a question? Lori, Mike, you want to add anything?
I do.
What about the Kendrick Park?
Keep. That's it.
Because that's got a pavilion and everything over there.
Well, we just thought it was nice to have something, a play area there. And I'm not sure what would.
Oh, I see. That was the circle, just the parking area. Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Laura, you have anything?
Oh, that's the one you're talking about, that 7 easy tugboat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do we have interest in keeping that? We
Oh.
want to keep that.
I'm sorry. I meant the corner of Summer and Davis.
Yeah,
That
I
one.
read that.
I'm sorry.
Corner of Summer Davis and corner of Summer or South Davis.
So there's one that she circled on, says, does the city have interest in keeping that?
Park.
Yeah, it just has a pavilion
Mhm.
within the trailer park.
Yeah.
No, I think it was there to
Keep.
that.
Mhm. I think it is off the line. The corner of Summer and Davis is a vacant tear down lot. And it has concrete structure. That is the one I want you to know, I think, if the city has any interest in keeping it.
Oh,
Is that right?
that's the corner of Summer.
Yeah. But I
There's
highlighted,
a note that says there's concrete structures there. I don't know what that is used for.
Is Summer and Davis where the food pantry is?
it's a block west of that, I think, isn't it? Isn't
It
it
is.
right
It
across
is.
from the fire station,
Oh,
I think?
It is. It very much appears like it would
That's
be
where the
something
old
There's no-
electric
the old
plant
trail
is.
was.
That never was cleaned up.
Yeah, it's a real mess.
Yeah.
I don't know why Roddy left it like that.
I don't know.
You still want it?
That was BR. That was BR.
I mean, if it was cleaned up, it might
You
have
tore
a
it down?
value for the city. I don't know.
Yeah.
We can take a look at it, absolutely. So will you be putting,
Do we write it up? I don't know.
Hmm?
Or
What
is
do we
it,
do, if, let's say these ones that we've highlighted that we say we may potentially sell or put out for bid or whatever, what would be the next step?
yeah, take the yellows and see if we can get rid of them, right?
I think so.
Okay, no,
We
I
looked
agree
at
with you.
pictures, I tried to print off pictures of each of them, so we kind of had an idea of what they were.
we pulled them up on Google Maps and looked at them during the committee meeting.
Which one? Okay, it's on here. I apologize. So are you going to put the on-call, points of issue on the next agenda for your committee?
Yeah, we'll discuss
Okay.
it next time.
Okay.
But do we need to vote on the, yeah, we should.
I mean, I think you all need to discuss how you want to sell, whether it's
By sealed bid,
sealed bid
Yeah.
or an auction.
sealed bid, I think would be the best on that.
Well, it says the committee decided to
They're so
recommend to
small.
advertise and solicit bids locally for the sale of the properties with the caveat that we, these guys, have the right to reject or refuse all bids.
Right.
So I think this spells it out unless I'm missing something.
How do we have any idea what these are worth though? I mean, if someone comes in and says, we'll give you $5,000, I mean, how do we
We
know
They're
have
worth what somebody's willing to pay.
many of these, Ms. Quinn, many of these actually have a document downstairs that was prepared by a local realtor that assigns a value that was appropriate in 2023. So I don't know, we might,
Jason, if I remember.
we could use that maybe as kind of a
Maybe as
benchmark.
Mhm.
I think I showed you one.
Yeah, I would just like something.
No, you do need something, right?
I have those documents available to me downstairs, so I will see if I can't make a note to myself, and I'll try to get those documents put together and get them to you.
Well, I mean, once the bids come back in, I would think prior to opening the bids,
Okay.
we'd look at those and
Okay, that's fine.
see if,
Yeah, because that way we could then review like the individual bids and decide whether to accept or reject any.
Mhm.
I mean, to Mike's point, I mean, to some extent, they're worth what somebody's willing to pay for.
Exactly. And how bad it
Uh,
is.
So, and there's not, I don't know, there's a big demand to like, build 5 new lots in town necessarily to build much, so it's limited depending on what's.
And most of them have older structure. A lot of them do have structures on that have to be torn down. It's,
How are you going to, what's the next step, and how do we let, a lot of these properties I think would be valuable to
neighbors.
neighbors.
Mhm.
I don't know that, but so what is the process with that? I don't know. What do we- how do we do that? How do we let people know that these are for bid?
Well, I mean,
Well,
they mentioned advertise, we can put something in the
We could put a
paper,
list.
whether or where.
we could do 2 things. Okay, we could do 2 things. We could run ads in the paper. We can utilize the city's website. We can utilize Facebook, the chat, of course, and we could also call the individual neighbors and make them aware that we're accepting bids. So that would give us the opportunity to know, to make sure that neighbors, we're going to be a little worried, but make sure that the neighbors, if you will, that may have interest in the property are aware that we're going to be accepting bids for it. Now give them opportunity so they can't say, or we would just make sure they were aware.
It would be common courtesy and potentially allowed.
We could also post notices on each of the properties.
That's what I was just.
Like a
Oh,
for
yeah.
sale sign with a,
Yeah. Yeah, yes,
Oh, that's
yes.
great.
certain times.
Okay,
Yeah.
So as your neighbor, you're gonna see the sign right next to your
There
house.
you go.
Something else you might wanna consider is when they make their bid, you wanna require a down payment, earnest money, because what happened before was some of the people who won the bid realized, oh, I was way higher than anybody else, and I could've, I don't want it anymore. So then, if their bid includes a check for earnest money, it's non-refundable if they back out, that at least hold their feet to the fire.
Fine, well, I would say fine, it's not my call, these guys can vote on that, but, what would be the amount, 10%, 5%?
10%.
10%?
Yeah, definitely. Gives them a commitment.
Okay. Do we need to vote on that?
I don't think so.
Good enough,
Include that in terms.
good enough.
So, just because I don't want to drop the ball on something, is the administrative committee responsible for developing the advertisement for bids? Or how, I mean,
Yeah, what's the next step?
I know that would be the official way to,
We'll have to get the legals for all the properties.
I have it. I have it as long as the information I was given is accurate. I'll qualify that statement.
well, let's work back and forth between now and the next meeting, maybe,
Alright.
and kind of
We'll talk.
flesh some of that
We'll
out.
talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we want to vote to approve their recommendation as far as for selling that?
We would need to. We would need
It's
to,
not appropriate time.
yes.
I make a motion that we approve their recommended list of sale properties.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve the sale of real estate as prescribed within this document presented by the administration committee. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the sale of real estate as provided in this document provided to the board and based on the recommendation from the administration committee. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
We also need a motion to approve the change to employee handbook for on-call, right?
Do you know what those changes are going to be?
Well, the first one, here's the first
hour.
one.
Until the wages are addressed.
We'll do that separately.
We'll do the,
We'll do
well,
it separately.
we might need to do it sooner than later since we have.
I'm not saying we can do it right after this vote.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm separating the two unless you want to
Oh, wait,
do all remedies one time. So we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the sale of real estate as prescribed in this document from the administration committee. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next, if someone wants to make a motion regarding changing the employee handbook regarding response time for on-call.
I'll make a motion to adjust the handbook to note that the on-call time was within 1 hour of receiving the call.
Okay, the question is that the administration committee has recommended to the board that we change the employee handbook to request that on-call, those members on-call be reported as soon as possible, but no later than 1 hour from receiving the call. That is the question.
Right.
What's our current policy?
20
statement?
20
minutes.
minutes. We don't currently have any moment.
I thought it was a half hour. 20 minutes?
And so we're adjusting it to make it more practical, considering that we've had to expand our.
We've had to expand.
service area.
Yes, very
We
good.
cannot currently.
Okay.
Meet that, yeah.
So I would entertain a motion to state it as such, that the question be that the employee handbook be changed for on-call personnel to report as soon as possible, no later than 1 hour from receiving call.
Mike has a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Do we have a motion on the floor? Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, second on the floor to change the employee handbook for on-call personnel to report as soon as possible, but no later than 1 hour from receiving call. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Okay, is there anything else from administration?
No, thank you.
There is, I apologize for not getting this removed. There is no longer a nuisance review board. And we'll discuss that at another time. Next on the agenda will be the operations committee report.
We met on the 2nd and had some discussion, and no action was taken. We do have another meeting scheduled for June 16th.
So you have no recommendation for the council,
We have no action taken.
which means no recommendation, correct?
Right.
Um,
Yes, would you like to be recognized?
Me?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I just thought that we were going to give them an answer. I believe that's not an answer.
Well, I mean, we did come to a vote, but I talked to John. And he said that the no action taken would be suffice. But had made a motion in the meeting to not give a discount to the car wash, and it passed. So,
What was the vote?
3-1.
3-1.
Who was there? I don't know.
Phoebe was there taking notes. We were all four here. Jason, Adrian, me, and Greg. And George was here too. Yeah.
It's your recommendation to the council. I understand that. I guess the only pause I had with, with the request that they had made was I wasn't convinced on how we quantify it. I mean, just based upon a percentage gave me pause because if it's a windy day, if it's not a windy day, there's lots of variables in there. However, we know that they are removing wastewater from their pit that could be quantified.
Right, which is the equivalent of about 1,500 gallons a month. So you're looking at about $15. And that's not necessarily 12 months out of the year. And you have a land apply permit for that?
What business is that of yours?
DNR might be interested.
Right, but what business is of yours?
Yeah, well,
It seems like a veiled threat. Or maybe unveiled threat.
no,
You're out of order. You're both out of order. Moving on. Department reports, police.
Don't have anything too expensive and no bad things, so that's a good thing. So I was able to renegotiate part of our contract with ITI as well as get rid of a couple of things that we don't need. So we're going to be saving $12,000 on a yearly recurring for our reporting system. We're continuing with nuisances. We're a little over 50 of them being addressed right now. And then I don't know if any of y'all have seen the communities getting the Blue Shield grant program. I am in the process of getting all that information submitted out to the state. So do have a little more information. We'll have to discuss on that. That will be a closed session there. Other than that, everything's been going well. Unless anybody has any questions, that's all I have.
car's running good.
They're running good.
Not
We're
running
gonna
good.
keep that.
Water, are you?
Yes, sir, I do have one.
Okay.
George is wanting to, put in for the manhole raising, for the Mr. Manhole. He said it would be under capital expenditure. I don't have any numbers for you.
Okay.
This is just kind of something I was told to present to you guys.
Okay. We're going to have to get the cost put together because there is a dollar value assigned for the capital expenditures.
Okay.
Um,
What is that? The Mr. Manholes, or like the, manhole is considered.
That's for the ones that are in the street, right?
Yeah.
yeah, he, when we're doing our CapEx work for the budget, obviously I can't recall exactly the details, but yes, it's in there. It's a fixed amount. So we'll need to get that information and bring it back to the next meeting.
Okay.
So we can have that and look at did he go out for separate bids?
I think he's wanting to put out 4.
Okay. All right. Well, he can definitely go ahead and put out for bids. That's
Okay.
not a problem. That's not a problem at all.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, sir.
No, thank you. Electric.
It's in your packet. That's just.
Okay. Well, I was looking for a representative to be here and give an explanation. We'll have that in a couple of weeks. Gas. Come on up, Terry.
Okay, you didn't have a report because we lost 4 days of information I was putting in the computer. Saved it and went to the cloud, and now I don't know where the cloud went to. So it's gone. And I gotta start all over. It was over the leak survey. We were supposed to get updated, get it organized, so when we leak survey, we get
Right. Was this something that was logged into while you were doing it?
I saved it on the computer, and I thought it was still gonna be there when I opened it back up. I went in there, it was gone. I looked for it. Scott looked for it. I don't know what happened to it. I like to talk Bill Gates about it.
Well, it's there, it's just a matter of finding it.
That's the problem. We can't find it. Nope. Anyway, that put me behind. And we're still doing the normal stuff. Those should be done and ready. Relocating services, AMI metering, line locating, equipment maintenance, and of course the leak survey, trying to get it up to date. And also we need to get the mapping program hopefully going. He wants to come in and talk to you guys the 17th of July, I believe. The guy from Subsurface that sold us the stuff to locate lines and map them out.
The GIS.
Yeah. So I guess 6 o'clock, the 17th, he'll be here to present whatever questions you may have on that. And I believe that's going to pay for itself real quick. Just at having it down.
Just having to not track down lines.
If you can get it within 6 inches, all the locates we get cross country, they usually have latitude and longitude already on it. And we can eliminate a lot of that just by looking at that, unless they screw up with the wrong numbers on there.
I can't do it.
Anyway, this has not been a really good week for me.
It's been an awesome week. What?
It has not.
Okay.
Don't say anything. Any questions? Okay.
We will get through this.
Yeah, so I think.
I'm afraid to ask for street.
I don't have much. Purple Wave come today and took pictures and videos of the equipment. I think they said 2 business days it'll be online, and I think it runs for a few weeks. I think to July, I think so. In July, Purple Wave, and we got dump truck, pickup, skid steer, some miscellaneous stuff. I bet he took 1,000 pictures.
Good,
Very thorough.
good,
And it was 2 hours he was there. taking
Good.
pictures, so.
and we're gonna keep Ford.
Yeah, Terry's summer help using it. We'll keep the Ford pickup for now.
Okay.
But the sludge truck, we're waiting on the title. He went on and took pictures and everything, videos. So when we get the title, he said, just let him know. And he'll post it. So
Are we doing any kind of reserves?
there's no reserve on
Minimum bid?
Purple Wave.
So do we start with a minimum bid then?
Sell the equipment.
If you bid $40 for the big truck and that's the only bid, I guess you get the truck for $40.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't wanna tell you.
Only drawback, there's no reserve on Purple
Who
Wave.
said it's already bid?
To get things
I
The minimum
suppose they,
Can we bid on it?
I suppose.
Well, us.
Brought it up just to see
We
what
may pay
Purple Wave,
purple
they do
haze.
MoDOTs and they,
Right.
they're big.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Very professional, so,
They probably go back on historical and figure it out.
so.
Similar items.
When those listings go up?
They got 2 working days to get them out, he told me, so I'd look for it tomorrow, Monday. So they'll be online, purplewave.com.
Until they're sold or?
And they don't wanna run them too late, people get bored, they know what they're doing. So the way he talked, they'll run so long, and like July, he called it Hammer Day, so I figure that's the best
There'll
day.
be a deadline to get people.
Oh, yeah.
Because otherwise people will.
Yeah, and I think that's
Yeah.
what they call Hammer Way. He said you'll get an email, or that probably will, get an email saying you can release it. They've got the money for it. Since they got the time. So,
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it just me or did we not do a city spring cleanup this year?
We didn't do the city spring clean.
Wow.
No dump right, no one every Monday.
Oh, horse crap.
The trash people will take whatever you set out.
No, they will not.
One bulky item a week.
No.
Yes, I call them.
Well, they may say that, but they're not doing it.
I will call them.
I have called them. I'm not very happy with them. They will not get my vote the next time. Can I make that right there on the record?
I think things that may have changed now that the owner is doing the driving and pickup.
I called them. I said one bulky item a week.
I've had residents call and ask about spring cleanup.
I would certainly encourage this board to send that question to the operations committee for their review to the entire board. There are many people, I think, that take advantage of that every year. Are there abuses? Of course there's abuses. There's gonna be abuses. But I think that the benefit we provide to the citizens to give them an opportunity to get rid of large, bulky items really encourages them, many people, not everyone, to clean up in and around their property, and it benefits everybody. So I don't vote, I don't make decisions. I would certainly encourage you guys to rethink that.
I didn't think we budgeted for it.
Well, you know what? We have an interesting opportunity in front of us. The previous board, through ordinance, combined all of the utility into one large utility. However, we do keep each enterprise fund separate vis-a-vis accounting. And so certainly this board, should they choose to, could take some of the money that we're getting from processing the pig fat and transfer it to the appropriate fund to cover the cost of the dumpsters. Because I figure by the time we're done with this year, we'll be close to $200,000 in plus on the TIG fat, especially after they start paying for the chemicals. So I don't know what it cost last. What did it cost the previous years, Rodney? Do you remember?
I can't remember right offhand. I rented one for my roof, and I probably got a better deal. I think it was around $500.
Yeah.
A dumpster.
I'd say for probably under $3,000, we can make a good solid effort.
I think last year we had a ceiling of about 3,500.
3,500. Did we end up with a
Well,
bunch
we
of
said
tires?
6 dumpsters.
That's right.
To
You set an amount.
Yes, we had a bunch of tires.
You set an amount and you kept ordering dumpsters until that you hit that number.
Yeah. I don't know how much it is.
Somebody had about 20 tires, yeah.
So they dinged us for the tires.
No, yeah. Well, luckily, we was there. I
Oh,
dug them out.
Well,
Go back.
There's going to be abuses, and it's not going to be a perfect situation.
Because that was one thing we did, I think, last year, we tried to move the location a little bit, so they thought they could kind of watch it better.
It's in front of the city. She had set up water down there. I'm watching it, like there. So, the last few years since I've been there, when they do it, it's set right out front. I think they used to have the old city farm.
Okay, I thought that was what they got. I mean, I don't see any problem because they're doing operations and, look at the numbers and, make a recommendation one way or another. That's what they're for.
Yeah, I'd suggest that. I think it's a good idea. I think it was beneficial for.
If I may, Chief James, do you think that it serves a beneficial purpose that we bring in these dumpsters once a year and do spring cleanup?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Him and his guys get to, they have the luxury of trying to help encourage homeowners to, make sure their properties fall within all the codes. So I certainly value his opinion a lot.
They might just give everybody a little reminder that it's coming if we decide to.
Well, if we can afford to give them the benefit, that benefit to utilize, help them, do a spring or in this case a summer cleanup, then I think we're doing a good thing. But that's not my call necessarily. So.
Hopefully, the purple wave stuff will be gone. Lots of love for it.
Well, we can certainly put this off until that happens. I don't think the residents will really care whether it's done this month or next month, as long as we give them an opportunity to do so. All right.
When did you say they'd go on auction? I'm sorry, you might have said.
2 business days, he told me, the guy told me. I
and
asked
we're
him,
here today.
and he was here today, so he said, look for it no later than Monday.
And then you said sometime in July is when they're fine.
I asked him, and he said it would go on, and then he called it Hammer Day. That's the end of, I suppose, Hammer Day is in July. They don't like running it too long because people get bored and lose interest for too short. So they're very big. That purple wave.
What's the pickup time frame?
I'm not positive on that. I know he told me, probably didn't get an email saying when it was released, they got the money and everything. So that would
Right.
have been a good question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like from the time it ends, they got a
Yeah.
number of days.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Building inspector's not here tonight. I'm not aware of any report. Building inspector, Danette, are you aware of any report? Airport?
The bulbs are going out again on a rotating week, and I've turned in a note. There's a notice there, just so that people that pilots know that it's out. I've been trying to research where to maybe get some conversions, some LED bulbs that are comparable that will fit, but so far I haven't had any luck.
I had the same experience when I was able to find bulbs that would actually, you could actually install in that system. The lumens was considerably light. The brightness of the light was probably 50-60% of the bulbs that we're currently utilizing. And whether or not that's an issue, I don't know.
I don't think they have I don't think there's a guideline on how bright it has to be.
Well, we could probably find bulb, but I can't guarantee they're going. I have no way of knowing if they're going to be sufficient. I did find the bulbs, but I backed away from it once I realized they weren't comparable within 10 or 15% of what we currently have. Modern, what would you be okay with going out and getting pricing for some quick competitive bids on replacement?
Yeah, I can do that.
We've been dealing with this, and we've replaced 1, 2, 3. I think if 4 bulbs so far just this year,
Yeah.
and it's starting to look like that there may be some other issues with that system that's contributing to this.
The old beacon is old, and as it rotates, it's got a set of contact points in it that we took it apart and rebuilt it, but they're arcing and probably giving an uneven flow of electricity to the bulbs. And the bearings we rebuilt the bearings, but they still aren't as good, so it vibrates, so the incandescent bulb.
That's not
Probably
good.
wicks that down.
That's not good.
Shook loose.
And they'll make a heavy duty one for it.
But for now, I've got a NOTAM on it, so it's nothing. And got time to look for something.
Okay,
We probably want to do that for, I mean, it probably it might damage LED bulbs too. I mean, they have different things that damage them compared to the incandescents, but if
There
it's got multiple
it is.
fluctuations.
Okay.
they can be sensitive to
Okay,
that. So-
there is that. That's good to know. Get some quotes on what it would cost to replace that. We also had one runway light out, but you have a replacement for that.
We had one replacement light, and I replaced it.
Well, I've done some digging and I haven't been successful yet, but I will get the information put together.
I can get that through Meyer Electric, probably.
Well, there was 2 things that I noticed when I went to Reliance's own website. I didn't get far enough into it. I got distracted, but it's possible that maybe it'll be sent off and be rebuilt.
That is possible.
In addition to having, perhaps just going and buying one. I don't know what the difference is going to be in cost or longevity. If you buy one, it's rebuilt. You need to install it to make sure it works. We need to have at least one on standby. So I'll try to complete that this week or next week.
They're really expensive, and it was completely full amps all down in the mechanism, so I don't know if that had something to do with it or not.
Yeah.
Rodney came out and we laid off a 24 by 24 area to make this burn pit for a campground. And he's going to try and come next week or so, and the rain has slowed us down, but dig the top soil down and put some rock in. And shouldn't be much of an expense. I would like to get a picnic table if we can to put on it.
Is there a problem with picnic table?
I've got a lot of over the water.
All right. And then maybe what you guys could do that's on the airport committee could get some rough estimates put together for a pavilion, and then we could we might be able to look at that come budget time and see if that's something that
We're not in any hurry to do that, but in the long run, we'd like to do something. I'd like to get it built, see if we have any activity. If we have activity, people start coming to it, then pursue putting a pavilion up.
Okay. Works for me.
Are there any trees right there by it in per shade? Yeah.
No. We may plant a tree on the side of it. You gotta be careful what you do because the height then gets into the restricted area there, so.
Use those nylon things like they use out at, off the side of the building that are just shade, their material.
Like the tarp type.
Yeah,
material you're talking
tarp.
about.
Yep.
A lot of places use some kind of will be like that. I mean, that's a possibility.
All right.
Thank you.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is Mosswood Chemical Reimbursement. I assume that the total cost is in here somewhere.
Yeah, Emily Garcia is representing, they're asking for reimbursement of $2,546.90, and they have already been paid.
I'll make a motion to reimburse the golf course, Mosswood, for the chemicals.
What was you getting ready to say something else? They've already been what?
They've already paid.
The Mosswood has actually paid for these.
And so we're going to reimburse them for that. Excellent. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to approve the payment or reimbursement to Mosswood with chemicals in the amount of $2,546.90.
Just a quick, I mean, that's, we budgeted for it in our normal hospital stuff, that we're still okay and all that. Okay. All right, thank you.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it then.
We have a motion second on the floor to approve reimbursement to Mosswood for the chemical cost of $2,546.90. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The ayes have it, the motion carries. I have a question. And this is for the board. I had the pleasure of looking at each and every invoice today, including each and every utility bill with total over $40,000 that we have to write checks for to ourselves because you have to account for every penny. And if you don't do that, you come up short on gas sales and electric sales and all that gets reported to other entities. So I had a question. I don't remember the exact amount, but it was in excess of $300 for the month. And the notation on the utility bill was Fountain, Mosswood. About $375 a month. And my question, I don't know where it's at. My question was, maybe it's a silly question, and maybe I don't get it. And that's fine. I don't get a lot of things. But put it on timer so it's only running during the day or something.
Yeah.
Is that charged like electric?
Yeah.
What's,
$300-something just
Yeah.
for a pump.
Yeah,
Can
look,
it be solar?
that's what it's called. That's what it was said. It said Fountain, Mosswood. I don't know.
You see it as you drive into town. If you drive into town, just go there. It's a fountain that is on.
Okay.
I don't know how it's on, but.
It's on at night too, because it's illuminated at night.
also they put lights, so
It's
there's probably
illuminated?
lights too then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I don't know how much of it is.
Yeah, well, forget it.
It may be solar.
Not at $330, it's
Well,
not.
no.
It's got a pump.
Well, maybe electric, but the
The
lights.
pump may be electric, but the lights may
Yeah.
be solar.
Well, I mean,
All right,
like,
moving right
going back to
along.
the Mosswood, like, they might just think about whether there's,
Yeah, I had to go off from midnight to, I don't know, on the, peak hour.
Midnight to dusk or dawn, rather, whatever.
Yeah,
It's a thought. I don't know.
probably be better for the pump too.
Okay, next thing is pool. They want to spend some money.
These weren't in your packet, but you should have a copy there. The first part we'll go over is the equipment that's necessary for the pool. Right now, they don't have a spine board in case they need one for emergencies to move someone out. They do have one, however, it's cracked, so they gotta get a new one. April did get some bids for me on that. And two of these are plywood, the other one looks more like a composite type.
They won't work.
Yeah.
And it's
So I'm
cheaper one.
assuming, there's a significant price difference, as you can see. But they definitely need a,
do they have, I mean, because I don't know anything about these spine boards. I guess they're all approved. Do they have a certain recommendation, or is there any reason not to get the cheapest one?
they recommended the ProWood spine board.
Makes sense. It'll last a lot longer, I think. Marine grade.
Well, the middle one it's not wood. I would think that would be less prone to rotting or cracking.
It probably wouldn't be as durable,
Yeah.
it probably wouldn't last as long.
Which Pro Wood were they?
Yeah, they're both.
Either one, they are identical. They're exactly.
Oh,
the
it's
same.
just different.
Different
Just
vendor.
Different vendor.
suppliers, different prices. And they're also needing a couple more umbrellas. And then
How many umbrellas?
two. And the chair, myself and the mayor went up there one day and met with Jessica on the chair because we couldn't, we had understand the need for a chair this expensive.
Until you go
Once we
look at
got
it.
there, it was real clear. That
They're those like heavy, limited kind of things, yeah.
the ones that are there now are probably the original chairs. Yeah, so they last a very, very long time. They wheel them in the building in the winter. They don't sit out in the weather.
So are these like all new replacements, or there's just a few that are damaged?
Just one. They just need one of the
They need
five
one
chairs.
of these chairs.
Yeah.
Okay.
The rec supply, the swim outlet chairs, they are identical. That one was a little bit different, but there was a significant price difference as well. So just wanted to get some direction from y'all on that.
Does anyone have a clue what our budget looks like for park and recreation?
They actually have a dedicated tax, so they're in better shape than most of the rest of the city.
Supplies and maintenance for swimming pool, we budgeted 9,000. We've only used 358, which I mean the pool did just open, so pretty early in the year for chemicals. Equipment maintenance.
What page is that on the net?
5.
I mean, basically, I think we fit okay into the budget as long as we don't run into some other, like where we have issues with like a pump or something like that. Those kind of emergency things.
Yeah, that can be expensive quick.
If you get the lesser expensive of the Pro Wood, 2 of the vinyl tilting umbrellas that are the cheapest. And that Astro lifeguard chair, you said that one was different?
It was. It doesn't have the wheels on it to where it's more mobile to get it out of the weather in the winter. These other chairs, they have wheels where they can just take it and
Did they have a preference?
They did not. I mean,
Except they
the
only
one
turn
that
it in once a year.
they found, they had this book from Rec Supply, and so that's what they were looking at. And then, of course, we just went and tried to get other similar bids.
For those of you who've been involved in this, the lifeguard positions are fixed based upon the design and layout of the pool. If we give them one that's mobile, I'm a little concerned that they might, when the cat's away, they might play. I think it ought to be fixed.
Well, all of them that are there now are mobile.
Oh, and then they
The one I
would be
looked at
able
was
to
both
put
of
them
them.
in the winter.
They all have wheels,
They do.
and you just tilt them back and move them.
Okay.
If you add those up and you go with the one that is not mobile, that total cost is $3,700, $14.12. If you take the Pro Wood, the least expensive spine board, the 2 vinyl umbrellas at $118, and the low price profile lifeguard chair that is mobile, that cost is $45.96.61.
So which one of the boards did you get? The Pro Wood 1000?
The Pro Wood 1000, the one that is $569.60. I actually selected the vinyl tilting umbrellas, 2 that are $118. That is actually times 2.
Okay.
And I priced it with either the stationary or the movable lifeguard chairs.
So
the difference on the lifeguard chairs is that the cheaper one you're saying does not have the wheels.
That's correct.
Now you said they put them away in winter, the wheels. Is that something like, I don't know, like heavy, or are they not going to be able to do that if they're not?
It holds their umbrella and everything. They have a platform there, and then the wheels here where they just tilt it back and they can store it for the winter.
How much does it weigh?
It doesn't look This one doesn't look
Doesn't
that
look
heavy to me. I mean, I'm not saying that you're gonna just, okay, but it doesn't look like it'd be immobile, just because it didn't have wheels. The wheels look more like they would be, sometimes they have a shipping weight. I mean, okay, but this is the one we're talking about.
Yeah.
Right? Not,
Right. We have one that is the poly resin, and it does not work well. Anytime someone gets out of that chair and the umbrella's up, a lot of times the wind will tip the chair.
well, this other place, the Dohenny's or whatever, it's gonna be the same style as this, it just doesn't have, because I mean, I don't,
I did bring
uh, the wheels that are on here do not look like $1,000 wheels.
Yeah.
So let me ask a
This
question.
is,
Do they have anchors in the concrete to lock those chairs in?
The chairs probably have locks on the wheels, I would guess.
And do they like put this stuff away at night or anything? Because that's the other question I have. You gotta put
she
it away
didn't say
every
they
day.
put it away every night.
They just store it in winter, perhaps.
They're left out overnight.
So the ones that aren't moved.
I'm sorry. What was that, Chief?
They are left out overnight.
They are left out overnight. Okay.
Back in the day, we had pipes and wood seats
Okay.
and splinters.
Well, there's a tax on it.
Sure. Metal tie.
So they were on these chairs I asked.
They were both on concrete.
They would last very long time.
It's true.
It was a pool, has it been 12 years now?
Okay, do we
I
know
think the
why?
ones were 2012.
Yeah, 13 years.
So are any of these that are listed here the ones that flip over each other?
No.
Okay.
I got you.
They're, I mean, she's got, I mean, kind of an idea of what this one is. I mean, they're a wide base.
Okay.
So they would sit there and like, there's their umbrella mount. I mean, see, to me, like I said, I don't understand, like,
It would be pretty easy to, it's like Friday, pretty easy to move.
I said, that doesn't look like it's that,
Yeah.
you know. I
Do you have a recommendation?
yeah, I mean, I don't see,
But the money is in the budget right now, so,
so I think as Adrian kind of selected out, you said the 569 Prowood, the 2x118 umbrellas, and the 2907 chair.
okay.
So if you'll count that as a motion, I'll make it a second.
There you go. I make a motion to spend $3,714.12 plus shipping and handling for mandatory pool equipment.
What was the total?
$3,714.12.
What happened to the 4596.61?
That's with the other
That's the
chair.
more expensive chair.
That's the more expensive chair. But there you go. Plus or minus shipping and handling.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor to purchase the mandatory pool equipment in the amount of $3,714.12. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the expenditure for the mandatory pool equipment in the amount of $3,714.12. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries.
I also put in an email from Jessica, for the school is asking for some summer school kids to come and utilize the pool. And, we have done this in the past for all the summer school programs. Just wanted to see if that's something we want to allow this year.
190 passes.
It would just be for a day, while they're at summer school.
Okay,
I think they would just go there for a few hours.
It is.
okay, so we're not giving them.
We're not giving any passes, no, we're just letting them
I
utilize
got
the pool for a few hours during summer school.
you.
And Jessica did mention, with the influx of those students plus the general people that come in during the day, that she would need a few extra lifeguards too. I think so far everything at the pool is going pretty good.
I'd say it's a great idea. I don't think so.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Start carrying this out. Okay. Next on the agenda will be the presentation of bills and approval of payments. Tab 12. Excuse me.
Have we ever gotten any invoice from our insurance company?
Yes,
Okay.
I paid one.
Just
So far.
Thank you.
Do we ever get anywhere with the old one? Did we ever get anywhere with the old company?
They haven't submitted an invoice.
They've never submitted an invoice.
So you notice on here that the boards approved side by side for the gas department is on here, the Kubota that we bought locally. You will also see on here, I don't see it on here. I need to turn a page.
The water and sewer supply bill of $13,231.75. That was also something that was previously approved at a council meeting.
Yeah, as part of the water plant upgrade. So that'll be coming out of that fund. The one I don't see on here, and it may be because it was on the previous one, was the stump grinder. That was on the previous one, wasn't it? Yeah. So moving right
That's already
along,
approved.
getting the stuff that the board approved, which is good.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills as presented.
We have a motion on the floor to approve accounts payable. We have a motion and second on the floor to approve accounts payable. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries. Okay, next thing on the agenda is unfinished business.
Mayor, could I ask a question?
Yes.
And it might be assumed it's finished, but under the operations, what we talked about earlier tonight, I guess I just have a couple of questions. I should have attended the meeting, but I wasn't really sure when it was scheduled. But you had said, Mike, that the value of the wastewater that they are removing on their own is about $15 a month. How did you determine that?
Based on how many gallons you said they roughly remove about 1,500 gallons a month. And it's 11.40 per thousand. It might be like 16 or 17, but in that neighborhood.
And was anyone from the car wash, did they attend the committee meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually.
And it was there, yeah.
Okay.
And there was no hard numbers on that either. So that was just an estimate.
I just feel like I understand why the committee made the decision they made. However, I know that the car wash is making a huge investment in the community, or wants to, and I would like to be able to extend something to them. It's just
Kind of got like mixed deals on some of the other deals. Do we, because I heard like, do we have any other places other than the sewer savers where we, have like a reduction for sewer? Do you know? George is not here now.
like,
Be much, but, I do know, um, the concrete place in town. I don't know, is it Autodeals?
oh,
Oh, okay, I know who it is. It's
Pass.
Pass. I believe the Pass.
Path.
Okay. I'm pretty certain, did you go to TV?
Oh.
I'm pretty certain that they have water meters, but then not a sewer meter, because they,
Or the part that they put into the concrete.
yeah, and when they
Yeah.
wash out the trucks.
Right, because it just goes on the ground. Yeah.
So they have an unmetered connection.
No, they have a separate water meter for the water they put into the concrete into the trucks.
Oh,
And that when they hose them down to clean them, because it's going elsewhere in the ground.
I'll wait till Phoebe gets here though.
Yeah.
that seems somewhat subjective to me.
Is there anybody else?
I'll wait for Phoebe. I don't wanna misspeak on that. She would know more about that than me.
Well, I'm fairly certain that
apologize, but one of them have to allow you to do this.
But that's pretty fair.
1 second, minutes, we'll get back.
In town, are you aware of some businesses that have water meters that aren't sewer, that don't have a sewer meter that go with them, like such as the concrete business or something?
Dylan, I think there is. I think like Ready Mix, I think the concrete.
Ready Mix.
Because the prayer, or whatever, Monroe Ready Mix, because it goes directly into the concrete and there is no sewer to be with it because it's all mixed, right? So there is no sewer that goes with that meter.
It goes through the meter.
And
It
I
goes
think
to a
there, and I
separate
think there's
Yeah.
maybe Ricketts maybe has another one that does not have a sewer.
Who does?
Ricketts, I think one of the farm stores do, because, and it's something with the chemical or something that gets mixed.
steel sprayers.
They're fertilizer and, yeah,
So yes, there is a couple,
but they're metered.
the water.
Yeah. But I mean,
Yeah,
if it-
because there's nothing gets mixed with the sewer, it doesn't go. into the
Right.
sewer.
But they has two water meters, one
Yes.
for inside.
Yes,
normal
like they have a
water.
bathroom one for
Yeah.
the fly or whatever it is down there under Ready Mix, and then they have
A separate one, so they know exactly how much.
exactly,
they're doing.
yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of businesses that have two waters and only one sewer because of that reason.
Yeah, like the water machine down here.
Yes,
Yeah.
he does not.
Yeah, it's an evaporative.
But none of that, I mean, absolutely none of that goes in the sewer.
No, not what I've been told by George.
And can I ask, was it who voted how? I was just curious how you said it was 4, 3 and 1.
Yeah, at that meeting, Mike, I, and Jason voted, to recommend to not do a special thing, and Adrian voted, against that motion.
But who made the recommendation not to recommend anything? I guess is how did that work? Where did that come from? Because I just feel like the council should be a part. I mean, you take your recommendation. So
Yeah, the council can vote, I mean, this mayor, the committees make the recommendation, the councils can vote.
Yeah, let me clear something up.
I'm
Let me clear something
confused
up.
how it works.
The charge to a committee is to take under consideration those items that may be directed by the board and or the mayor. And the expectation is that, number one, the chairperson or co-chair, if the chair's not there, makes a determination that they have quorum. You had quorum. You laid upon the table a question. that question was answered in a form of 3 no votes and 1 yes vote. Under normal circumstances, the committee's report to the Board of Aldermen would be as such. The committee recommends to the Board of Aldermen to not extend or do or perform or pass or whatever the issue you were given to deliberate. And so in this case, when you gave your report, my expectation would have been that you would have reported the results of the vote to the board. Then the board of the whole takes under consideration that committee's recommendation to the board of the whole. And then at that point in time, a number of things can occur. There can be a debate. If a alderman requests to be recognized by the chair, and we have a debate or discussion, and we discuss the merits of the recommendation from the committee. And I'm describing what would happen under any committee. I'm not trying to necessarily pin you guys down on this, but what should have happened, in my opinion, is you should have reported the results of your vote to the board, and then the board could sit here in silence and do nothing and take no action, or a member of the board could make a motion independently based on your report to the board in any form, in any matter they so choose. If that was seconded by another member, then that question would be repeated to the board by the chair, and there would be a vote. And so when you report the results of your vote, the board of a whole can decide to do nothing. They say, okay, well, thank you, move on. That would happen after a period of silence where no one on this board recommended a course of action, which would be, I make a motion, because if you choose to do nothing, that means you've accepted the recommendation of that committee. The recommendation of the committee does not have to be accepted by the board of the whole. Okay, you can have a discussion. The discussion may cause the board of the whole to take some other form of action. They could, for instance, they could say, what you are asking us to do is to create a new class of customers. So we would need to go back and understand what would they be called, how would they be classified, what would the rules be relative to that classification of customer. Or you could say, I want to make a motion to amend the current utilities ordinance so that all car washes are allowed to have a 5%, or I'm just throwing numbers. I'm not going to tell you what to do, obviously, but I'm trying to assist this board in their process of deliberations and how it typically is done based on my experience and based on all that I've read. So I will now, at this point in time, leave it to this board to decide how they want to utilize the recommendation or lack thereof from that committee.
Well, I would like the committee to revisit this. I'm not saying that the request was something that I would have voted for. However, I think there may be an opportunity to assist them with their wastewater usage or billing, I should say, because it's obvious there is not all of it is going in the sewer. I don't know what that magic number is, and I don't know how to determine it. Vince has got some good information, but I feel like there's more I believe that we can do to assist them. And if we could look at potential ways to offset some of their usage and make it universal, it's not good, so that it doesn't break the city, but yet at the same time, so it makes sense for situations like that. Sounds like that recommendation might die. Just a thought.
I would have liked to have all the information if I had known about Ricketts and Monroe City Ready Mix. I felt that it would have been relative to what we were discussing.
The, understand the situation with Ready Mix and Ricketts, they dump nothing into the sewer, is that what we're saying?
On those meters, nothing goes in the sewer. It's like it's completely separate meter, so we know exactly what's what.
So it's I think one of the quandaries that we have is what we're looking at is not measurable.
But it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It doesn't mean that just because we can't measure it quantitatively, quantify it, thank you. It doesn't mean that it's all going into the sewer. And I don't know how to recognize that or how to, yeah.
In practice, how would we implement the measuring? I mean, they were, referenced, I think some of they requested maybe 30% or something, looking at the data in the reports, there was some variation, but, whatever number you pick, if you try to be safe, would we, to your point, like I said, were you saying car washes were 80% of their, what would we do to make it practical as far as billing such?
I'd like to recognize Vince, please.
Vince?
Thank you. I think what we could do to make it easy on the city, both from a risk profile, which I think people have some hesitance around about how much of this is real, and administratively to alleviate any burden on the city. I think what I would suggest is take the low end of the measured range. I mean, the meters in sewer savers, all this stuff is gameable, right? I don't want to talk into this a public meeting, but that's the fidelity there is not 100%. A study, the fidelity is actually higher because it's not fudged, right? So there's two studies that there's a range between 20 and 33%. So I would suggest, to be safe, take the low end of that range, and then at the end of a fiscal year, calendar year, whatever the city deems easiest, we could come to the city and say, here's a report. We both have the bill, so we know the usage, we know what it is, and ask for a 20% credit to the first month of the next fiscal or calendar year. Effectively the same way you handle the sewer saver program. That would be my suggestion. I don't think it would be we can be folded into that program and handle it the same way administratively, so it doesn't create any undue burden on the city. It's on us to report it to you guys, and you guys check our numbers. And we be safe by taking the low end of the range. That would be my suggestion.
Well, like you said, the city would already know the water usage. Mm-hmm. So it on your end, I mean, they have a way to say, you're right, Vince, numbers are correct.
Yeah. What's another city that does those? Like they would have an ordinance.
I don't know. I couldn't find any Myra just turned one down a week or so ago.
An sample of one is not I don't know what you call it,
A bunch.
we have a program, I mean, I still recognize speak, I don't want to be out of turn here, but I don't want to be out of turn if I'm still recognized.
Oh, you've been recognized. Go ahead.
So we have programs, I guess that's my point, and I think that the spirit of the law is that the folks who aren't using the sewer should not use the sewer. I think perhaps the studies are being discarded a little bit too easily, in my opinion. Those are scientific studies over a long period of time across the country, and we're taking the low end of that range. So there's multiple programs that we've talked about, multiple businesses benefiting from this, which is fair, right? I mean, in my opinion, you're paying for what we use, and we're happy to do so. And this brings frankly, our utility costs more in line with, it's still way high relative to other cities. So I couldn't find another city that has a higher burden on car washes than another city. So this just brings things closer to normal. It's still very expensive to do business here.
Mike, did you calculate the dollar value based on the expected water usage relative to this request?
Yes, as far as having to pass on the fee to the customer.
No.
Or-
If the city was to enable a credit, the credit they asked for, which was I think for 30%, did you put the dollars and cents to that based on what their annual usage would be?
Not an exact number, no.
Well, you did provide
an
it.
answer for you.
Yeah.
20% would be about $3,000 a year.
How much?
$3,000 a year at 20%.
I don't think the wintertime usage should count there. Because so much of the wintertime usage is for weeping,
It's for,
keeping the pipes from freezing.
Weeping is that's a very small amount of water usage. I mean, we're using
You know,
1 million gallons of water. It's not weeping. The water is from when you run it, and it's automatic. I would also clarify that it's automatic car washing that uses the water. It's not, hand bays do not use a lot of water. It's the automatic bay, which we're the only one for 20 miles in every direction.
right, but your water usage was higher in the wintertime because of weeping.
It's not because we wash our cars. People wash their car after there's.
That's not what Jerry said the other night. Because he said they actually lost money in those months because of having to keep it from freezing.
I can't speak for Jerry or what he said, but car wash is a very seasonal business. Q1 is your busiest wash period of year by far. So typically wash about 40% of your volume in Q1.
What complexities, maybe I shouldn't even go down this road. I hope the board doesn't mind. You should stop me at any minute if you want to. Jason. If the board chose to create a separate class of users, service users, such as I don't know what 2 miles is called out here in Scotland, the big unit out there they use to wash their trailers. Mr. Potterfield is in the process of building a system for the semi-trucks. Josh and Potterfield, his company, has a similar unit. I'm not sure what others might exist. At least one other actual car wash, which is typically, I think, manual in the middle city. So if the board was, and I'm saying they should or shouldn't, but if they were to go down the road looking at this and creating an additional class of consumers where they would reduce the sewer cost based on some percentage that they would agree upon, what kind of a burden would that place upon the city relative to billing?
Just adding another user kind of category.
Nothing significant.
And if you rebated it, did a percent of rebate at the beginning of the year following the end of the calendar year or fiscal year, whichever one we chose to do, that's a one-time thing. You go back, you look at all the water usage, discount it by 10, 15%, rebate that back on the next month, right? I mean, a credit. Not overly administratively heavy.
I'm one of the last people that wants to talk about reduced revenues for obvious reasons. You calculated how much per year?
How much it costs?
Reduce. How much would your rebate be?
About $3,000.
About $3,000
with today's volume. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any this? I hate to put you on the spot, but for you asking this question, we wouldn't be having this discussion.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna put a little bit of onus on you. Do you have any projection on increased sales tax revenues for this business enterprise that the city would expect to potentially receive because you're going to put this business in place?
There wouldn't be any additional sales tax because we're a service business, right? So service businesses in the state don't pay sales tax.
Well, that doesn't help us.
It's not a good answer, but it's the honest one. But where I would say is we're upgrading our electrical service from 200 to 400 amps. We're probably your largest water customer in the city. I mean, we spend a fortune. It's our biggest cost item is utilities, above anything else. We're probably one of your biggest utility customers that you have. I mean, unless someone's running huge pumping, I guess some of the granulators and stuff may come close, but we're investing in this. The city will make more money from the car wash via utilities in the future city, would be my guess.
Plus real estate, property tax.
Plus property tax for improvements and whatnot. So, I mean, there's offsetting things. And again, you've talked at this meeting for quite a bit about improving services for the citizens, spending $3,000 on getting dumpsters so people can clean up their yards and their houses. It's the same cost, and people can actually get a good car wash in town without having to drive to Hannibal or Macon. I think that adds value.
Well, I would like to toss it back to the operations committee to give further consideration.
If I'm so recognized, I would implore the board to vote here. I mean, like I talked to Ronnie, we're trying to get me with an electrician first day he's here so we can get started on this project. And, I don't know if anyone's going to change their minds. If there's going to be a difference in opinion, it'll happen now, and I would like finality so we can, make a decision before.
Vince, I don't know that we
Well,
can.
we can't amend our ordinance.
It's not on the agenda, plus we'd have to amend the ordinance.
It was going to be.
Yeah. It got removed, I don't believe we can do it tonight, even though there might be some.
Explained. Amending an ordinance was not on the agenda. Never was on the agenda. A discussion was going to be on the agenda. A report from this committee was going to be on the agenda. And
No, the ordinance, this is just came out of this conversation tonight. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm saying we can't, I don't know that we can make a decision tonight because it would require amending ordinance.
I don't understand. Sorry.
We haven't given notice that we be discussing amending the ordinance.
what would have typically happened is the committee would make a recommendation of the board to do something. And then if that required an amendment to the existing utilities ordinance, then they would have had to formulated a bill, they'll come before the board. Board has to read it twice. If they believe that there should be a public hearing, that would be necessary. I don't know if it would be or not. That'd be a question up to the city attorney. Most of the time when we do ordinances affecting utilities, sometimes it is required, but I don't know the rules on this one, but that would have been the course of action. They would have made a recommendation, the board would have taken that recommendation, they took no action, or someone would have made a motion to do something, then if that was voted in affirmative, then that would have been pushed back to author the bill. Bill will come back at the next meeting, and then you move forward.
So where we are now, if I would request the operations committee to revise the ordinance to accommodate these types of customers, however they see fit, they may or may not choose to do it.
Say it again.
If I would say I would like to recommend to the operations committee to revise the wastewater ordinance to accommodate customers such as this, because we have several of them in town, the operations committee may or may not do it.
You would need to make a motion to the full board to ask that committee to formulate a bill, or one of you could do it on your own. Aldermen are allowed to submit bills for consideration. You can author your own. It's not necessarily typical, but I've done it, and you all read them and look at them and consider them, and in most cases approve them. If you're going to do that, I think what you need to have though before, I don't know, this gets a little bit tricky. This is a little tricky situation here. Typically, they would have come back with a recommendation and said, we recommend the board we very specifically do this. Now, they may have said, well, they're asking for the moon, we're going to give them a rock, a different percentage or a different number, and then you all would have had to consider that. And you'd have had discussion relative to that recommendation. That recommendation was not forthcoming because they had a vote of 3-1 to not do anything with the billing, the ordinances, or anything like that. That was never done. They did not report. They did not make a recommendation to the board. So it creates a little bit of a problem.
So how do I formally request the committee to revise the ordinance to accommodate customers such as this, perhaps, because I like the idea of monitoring the water usage throughout the year, giving them a credit of a percent, whatever they decide that percent would be, the first month following the end of the fiscal year or whatever. But I don't
think you can tell the committee
I
that,
know.
but you could, like Ronnie said, you could propose an ordinance
Okay. I'd like to make a motion for
at another meeting.
request
And
the
then vote on
committee.
So what would happen is you would author a bill, you would bring it for the board, you would ask the board to consider it, and they would vote on it. That's what would happen. This is a very unusual situation. The committee took action but reported no action. So I don't know how to handle that. Do you?
Because if I make that motion, they could take action but take no action again, right?
Precisely.
Right, but that's not what you're wanting.
No.
So that's why I think your remedy is to write up an ordinance and get it in the next meeting and publish it, have it published and voted on.
You could also, by a majority of the board, call for a special meeting. And that be a discussion point, and you could at least get a consensus on what percentage. Now, I know what they asked for, okay, I get that, that's very clear. But it may be the consensus of the board as a whole that they want to do something different. They might go with 30, they might want to do 20 or 15 or do nothing. I don't know what they want to do, but you can, by a majority of this board, call for a special meeting. I can call for a special meeting independently, or you can call for a special meeting by a majority of the board.
I'll make a motion to call for a special meeting of the board to discuss ordinance related to this type of usage. Sorry, clean that up, Danette.
The motion dies for a lack of a second.
Second. I was watching her write.
Well, that, you shouldn't do that.
I'm sorry, I was giving her the benefit of the doubt. She was
Oh.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to call a special meeting to consider modifying the utilities ordinance. It's that simple. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
How many nays? Put your hands.
2.
Lori abstained.
Have 2 noes?
3 yeses.
3 yeses? The ayes have it. Schedule your meeting. Let the city clerk know when the meeting's going to be scheduled. We'll get the appropriate notifications put up.
You're welcome.
There is no closed session tonight.
We're done?
Yeah, there is, Zach was requested.
Oh, really? I wasn't aware of that.
We mentioned it earlier.
Denise before he mentioned it.
It's a closed session?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll make a motion and then is that on the agenda?
Yeah.
Which one?
It is.
It is.
I'll make a motion then that we go to.
Oh, okay.
Session as, which one are we doing in closed session?
RSMO 610.021, hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting a particular employee by a public governmental body when personal information about the employees discussed or recorded. It's been read, and that's all you have to do. It doesn't say who has to read it. We have a motion and a second on the
I'll
floor.
second. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I apologize.
It has to be done by,
Alderman Smith,
Yes.
Alderman Schneider,
Yes.
Alderman Simpson.
Yes.
Alderman Osborne. Alderman Saunders,
Yes.
Alderman Quinn.
just call it Trump. You aren't on the Epstein list, are you?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we're in open session. Chief.
Okay, so for the Blue Shield, like I was saying before, there's 2 different sides to this. It's the police department and the local government. Is to ensure that there's cooperation between the 2. So we have our own things that we have to come up with as a PD, but it also has requirements for the city themselves. With that, the city would need to adopt a resolution to demonstrate commitment to public safety, including to reduce violent crime within the jurisdiction.
Okay.
The second would be the city would need to show how they are partnered with local stakeholders in a joint effort to invest in and improve public safety in a significant way. So
Can you repeat that second one?
government would need to show how they have partnered with local stakeholders in a joint effort to invest in and improve public safety in a significant way. So I will have to look into that a little bit more. I don't know if, you know, us doing like the citywide cleanups and stuff like that would count towards that, because we are helping with nuisances, we are helping with essentially the broken glass theory. So I don't know if that would fit, but if anybody else can think of any other ways that we're investing into that, that way I can add that in there. But it's gotta be pretty specific.
Did you see Shabina got funded?
Mhm.
There's actually quite a few.
Might pick their brain and see what how they, cause I'm sure.
And so this is a grant, basically?
Yes, so this would open us up, this first year they've got, let's say close to, what was it, they said $20 million worth of grants for this first year go around, and only cities that are Blue Shield communities can apply for it. And then each year, I think next year they said they're going to be up to close to $1 million. So
Is that for Missouri?
Only,
That's
it's
just
Governor
for state
Kehoe's
Missouri.
baby.
And do we have to have our audit done in order to qualify?
No,
no,
I don't
we
think
would
so.
not have to on this one.
Oh, that's
If we
awesome.
get those
That's
two
awesome.
questions
Yeah.
answered, we would be
What,
available.
so we participate with, Northeast Missouri, is that
That task force.
qualify at all? I mean, kinda.
It should.
I would
actually,
think.
yes.
What about,
What about the dog?
We have a canine.
So, the dog does, but not for this
Okay.
specific one here.
Okay.
We've already served like 3 other.
We just
what
gave.
about, what about assisting with the water patrol? Do we ever do that? Was there the water patrol at the market?
Not anymore.
No.
We sold the boat.
No, we ain't about
I said there are ways, and like I said, do we donate anything into Ministerial Alliance or no? I don't know that we do.
You all oversee it, because they come to you for the vouchers, and you all have to take their ID and, point them in the right direction, I guess.
You participate in it?
Because when they come to the store, it's always you or somebody that's, distributed
Would it be monetarily?
I don't
No.
know.
but not.
They're still time based.
Not
Yeah, I
monetary.
mean, yeah, if you're donating time, yeah,
I'm just thinking of like community
Yeah, that should
events,
work.
like if you assist with parades, if you assist.
We just
with-
donated a couple million.
I don't know,
equipment
any
for
of
our
those sort
department.
of things.
One time
we-
somebody got,
honestly,
they had one, and then they had one 2 weeks later, because paths got crossed. Because they're, how often they allow one, the Minister Alliance?
Yeah.
It's like, month.
Okay. Well, maybe you can, I don't know.
Well, if anybody can think of any additional that I can throw on there, because we want to put down as many of those as we can, just, send them over to us. Like I said, the only other thing that the city actually needs to do to require you all to take a vote would be for
resolution?
that resolution.
Do they have a sample one in the application packet? Have you seen one?
They don't, however, I know Shelbina, Palmyra, they've got.
Yeah, we can
one.
probably get a hold of them, find out how
So
they did it.
that shouldn't be an issue.
They might have some ideas too for the stakeholder involvement.
Yeah.
We still give out DARE, we still recognize the DARE, don't we?
Actually, no, not right now. We're getting ready to switch. There's new companies coming out. There is,
Is it defunct?
it's not progressing.
Okay.
There are some other ones that are bringing in not only drugs, but also cyber safety and things of that nature, which honestly, at this point, we definitely need to be doing those a lot.
Okay.
So that's all I have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Hope you feel better.
I appreciate it.
Before we adjourn, can we pick a date for the special council meeting?
Sure.
So we have a plan,
How long do we have to give notice for that?
24 hours.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Don't do it on 13.
What about June the 10th? It's a Tuesday. Is anyone available or anyone not available?
The 10th would work for me.
It's coming Tuesday.
It's next week.
It's next Tuesday.
Excuse me. I'm good.
Jason?
What time?
I don't care.
What day is it on? What
Tuesday, 10 to 10.
I think it's fine.
Like,
Yeah.
Mike. What time we want to meet? 5:30? 5? What's Adrian, that's early for you? Six.
No earlier than 5:30.
Okay.
That's all. No earlier than 5:30.
No earlier
5:30.
than 5:30.
What do you think, Adrian? 5:30 or 6?
5:30 would be the absolute earliest, and that would be if somebody else
Can
can
you
swing
do
in
6
and walk the
o'clock?
dog.
Y'all get to go home and go.
We'll just do 6.
6. That works
I
for
don't
me.
need
Yeah.
that. Why is a dog? Andrew's been kenneled all day.
Can't hold his puddle that long, huh?
Poor little guy. 5:30 to 6, either one's fine.
6, we'll stick with 6. That way you're not rushed.
Well, anything else we have on the
I'm
agenda?
gonna tell you what I read today is that the MML guidebook on council meetings for 4th-class cities said that I can do this. We're
Well,
adjourned.
close that.
Thank
thing.
you.